Hi, this is Joe again with another review, and instead of I haven't done a review of a television show for a while, so I'm going to do one here for now. I'm going to review the TV series The Flash. I'm not going to do the one that's currently airing on the CW network. I'm not going to do that. You say, oh, how can I do a review of the TV show The Flash? Because it's only one television show. Well, there was a Flash television series back in 1990 and 1991, airing on CBS, starring John Wesley Shipp, Amanda Pays, and it was a damn good show. And ironically, or irony of ironies, John Wesley Shipp, who was the original Flash on TV on the CBS series, plays Barry Allen's father in the new version or the remake of the Flash series. Well, the reason why the Flash came back on television now, after over 24 years, or actually 23 years between the end of the original series and this one, was because this one happened to be a spin-off of another current comic book show airing on CW network called Arrow, based on the Green Arrow character. So they made a spin-off because that show was pretty successful for the CW network. One of the few shows that is successful on the CW network. So they spun off one main character from the Flash, or a spin-off for the Flash show. Because the Barry Allen character did a couple of episodes on the Green Arrow show. So I figured that storyline was successful, and they were hinting they would do a spin-off and make a brand new Flash show. And that's what they decided to do. But people were clamoring, and I belong to a group on Facebook called Cinephiles. And a lot of the other members of that group were talking about how excited they were. They're going to have a new Flash television show. It's about time to do a Flash show. Or a TV show based on the Flash character. And he said, the show. This is actually the second show. The original show was in on CBS back in 1990 and 91, and that's the show I'm going to be talking about now. And that was a long introduction, but I'm going to do a little background for you. The original Flash television show, like I said, in 1990 and 91 on CBS, starring John Wesley Shipp and Amanda Pays. And the original pilot was a 2-hour movie, actually, directed by Joel Schumacher, who a couple years later would direct the third Batman movie. Well, actually directed the last two Batman films before Chris Nolan revamped the series. Batman Forever and Batman and Robin show movies was like generally considered to be the two worst of the whole Batman movie franchise. But he directed this 2-hour film, and it was pretty damn good. It follows, of course, Barry Allen, played with John Wesley Shipp, who works in the forensics lab in the city's. I forgot the name of the city, the central city's police department, whose older brother was a cop, and their father was also a police officer. Well, the main storyline is that they were looking for this head of this moral cycle gang, played by Michael Nader. Of course, for all my children fans out there who happen to be watching this video, Michael Nader, at that time, like by a year later on that year or a year later, started playing Dimitri Merrick on All My Children. Reportedly, he would play for years, or a few years, until he got fired for drug use. Anyway, he was the villain in this episode, and for you Star Trek The Next Generation fans, his girlfriend appeared on the episode when you first meet the Borg, on the Next Generation episode. And I think she also appeared I forgot the name of the actress, and she also played another, the same character in another episode of the Next Generation show. Anyway, what happens is that the Michael Nader character ends up killing Barry Allen's brother, and attacked by his motorcycle gang. So he knew who he was, and just before that happened, Barry Allen was working late in the lab, and he got hit by lightning, and he ended up falling on a bunch of chemicals, which accelerated his metabolism and made him to be the fastest man alive. And for some wacky reason, Amanda Page's character, who was a scientist working for Star Labs, figured out that he has this problem and wanted to help him, because he did go to the hospital. I think he ended up going to the hospital, and the doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. And then they brought in the scientist, or Amanda Page's character from Star Labs, and she figured out what happened to him, and to examine him. And when he left, she offered to examine him and help him out and find out what is going on with him. At first he turned her down because he thought that she was a whack job. And then, of course, they had the scene little by little, kind of like in the very first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire, but little by little it builds up to know what his powers happen to be. Same thing in this movie. And of course, she finally gets it to his head, hey, maybe we need help. And then goes to her, and that's when she gives him the famous red suit, because it's supposed to prevent him from accelerating too much. Or at least the only thing, material that's not going to rip apart when he's running so fast. And they figure out he runs so fast that he, of course, they cause a sonic boom. And then all of a sudden right away he starts eating like a pig. And in order to tell him, because he burns out his metabolism so fast, but by all this running, that he needs more nourishment than he normally would take. And of course, what happens at the end, of course, like I say, his brother gets killed by the Michael Nader character, and of course, at the end of the movie, he does beat him and take his ass to jail. I think later on in the series, his character gets released from prison. But the reason why that the original Flash television show didn't make it is because of two reasons. Number one, ratings. Because at that time, when the original Flash television show came on, like I said, it was on Thursday night. So it was up against the time slot that was on. It was running up against the Cosby Show, which was still on the air then. We know it was towards the end of its run in 1990. Even though 2 years later the Cosby Show would end, but the Cosby Show was still getting still the highest rated show on TV, and it was also running against The Simpsons. I think The Simpsons either was still on Sunday night, or I think it just moved to Thursday to go up against the Cosby Show. So I actually CBS moved it from 8 o'clock to 8:30, but totally messed up the show. And not only that, but it was at the time the most expensive show made on television because of the special effects. But the thing that worked well in this show, that so far, to me, I have watched the Flash television show now, but the one thing that's lacking in the CW Flash show, compared to the CBS show, is humor. We did have a lot of humor in the original show, especially the on-screen chemistry between Amanda Page, who plays the Star Scientist, and John Wesley Shipp, who played, of course, the entire character. There was a good chemistry going on between the two of them. And not only that, but Amanda Page was a babe then. And so I kind of like her. She was kind of hot. To me, she was kind of hot. But one thing that the Flash show did have was they did have recurring characters. They had one particular character who was a woman reporter. I forgot who played the part, but she was also very good. She actually did have a love affair a little bit with Barry Allen's character, which was pretty hot. And also you had one villain, and also you did have villains that were in the Flash mythology. Even though I didn't really know that much about the Flash mythology in terms of the characters or the villains that the Flash faces in the comic books, because I didn't really read the comic books. The only way you knew about the Flash before the CBS show was the Super Friends, the Saturday morning cartoon on ABC for years and years and years, through the 70s and throughout the mid 80s. The Super Friends television cartoon. They had, because the Super Friends show was based on the DC Comics comic book characters. So the Flash was in there. And there's one particular season of that cartoon series which they had the challenge of the Super Friends. We had the Super Friends versus which was called Justice League of America versus the Legion of Doom. And in Legion of Doom, they had 13 villains in the DC universe, and most of them were Superman villains, because they had Bizarro, they had Lex Luthor was the leader, Solomon Grundy. They also had Groth, the talking gorilla, the intelligent gorilla, and Toyman. So you have mostly villains from Superman mythos. But you also have one villain for each one of that's comparable to each one of the Super Friends. And to match the Flash, you had Captain Cold, which was the Flash's chief villain. And they did have the Captain Cold character in the original television show. And already at this point, at the day of doing this video, they already had an episode of the CW show with the Captain Cold character. But so far in the CW show, they didn't have this character yet. But in the original CBS show, they had him twice. This particular villain, named the Trickster. And in the original series, the Trickster was played by the great Mark Hamill. Luke Skywalker played the Trickster. And of course, the Trickster kidnapped the Flash's girlfriend, Barry Allen's girlfriend, who I mentioned earlier, this female reporter. And of course, at the end of that episode, he did capture the Flash did capture the Trickster. But in the last episode of the series, they had the trial of the Trickster, which is a pretty infamous episode because about like 12 minutes in, you had an infamous laughing gas scene, which I mentioned in my previous video with laughing gas on film video, which the Trickster's or a girl who was obsessed with the Trickster, who worked in the courtroom as a court reporter, or weaseled her way in as a court reporter, sprayed the whole courtroom of laughing gas from this rig. She rigged a teddy bear to go off and shoot laughing gas in the whole courtroom, and Barry Allen and his girlfriend, the reporter, got dosed with laughing gas, and along with the judge, the Trickster's defense attorney, everybody in that courtroom. And of course, eventually, in the course of the episode, the Trickster captures the Flash and brainwashes him, and to make the Flash go nuts. But then the Flash got back to normal. Obviously, back to normal in the end. But unfortunately, that was the last episode of that series, and it was canceled because of low ratings, and of course, it was very expensive to make the special effects at that time. I guess it would be expensive to make now too because of the special effect with him running through the streets. But of course, at that time in 1990, you really didn't have the CGI quite yet to fall back on. And if it did, it probably would not have. It probably would have been expensive then too, but not as expensive as it would have been if they had CGI to fall back on. But the 1990-91 CBS show is still, in my eyes, is still better than the show they have on now. Because the Flash show on the CW network is too much like the Arrow show. It means they have a lot of flashbacks in it. Flashbacks to the just before the accident which caused Barry Allen to become the Flash. There's so many flashbacks in that stuff. In the original Flash television show, you didn't have all the many you didn't have any flashback stuff in that scene, and that's for having to be if they bring back a villain from before, like the villain in the original pilot. I think they had him before in a later episode when he got out of jail. They did no references to what happened in that episode, and of course when they brought back the Trickster, they didn't have flashbacks in that stuff either. They just mentioned what happened in the previous episode. but I still like the original Flash television show because it's better. I know those episodes used to be on YouTube. I think it's been taken down for stupid copyright rules, which I know I ran previous fans before, but it drives me up the wall that YouTube removes videos or blocks videos in the United States. Because I live in the United States. I live in New York City actually. They take these stuff down because I happen to like videos on YouTube, and then every so often when I look at my liked videos, I see some videos have been blocked or taken off because of copyright rules, and I hate that. It drives me crazy. YouTube, be more lenient, okay? And if the powers that be in YouTube are watching this thing, knock off the copyright rules because it's driving me crazy. Because I have other things better to do than to reload my or to re-up my like videos because they keep blocking out my like videos or my favorite videos. And it's driving me crazy. So cut it out already. Sorry for my little man. Please, that's my review of the original Flash television show. Please like the video. Please rate it. Feel free to comment on it. Please subscribe to my channel. And please forward this video onto your Facebook pages. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.